Namaste, Masters. We are into the part C of chapter 1, The Seven Spiritual Laws of Parents by Deepak Chopra. So now let's see how to start giving information or the wisdom to kids in the way they like, when the way they can reach the kids easily. Let's start reading. How to start. From the day your baby is born, you are a teacher of spirit. If you create an atmosphere of trust, openness, non judgment, and acceptance, those qualities will be absorbed as the qualities of spirit. In a perfect world, parenting would come down to one sentence: show only love, be only love. But in this world, we all cope with, children grow up to face much non loving behavior, primarily outside the home, but sometimes within in as well. So rather worry about whether you embody enough love to qualify as a spiritual teacher, upon look upon spirituality as a skill in living, since that is what it is. I believe in imparting these skills as early as possible by whatever means a child can understand. Here, Deepak Chopra, author, is saying we all in the modern day parenting, we say about love, spreading love, only love. But in actuality, the kids would be going in a very unloving, sometimes in very non loving behavior around him, right? So, how to cope up with that? So, instead of just giving love as an entity or an external thing, spirituality should be a skill. The author is suggesting to have spirituality as a skill for our kids. So, how to give that skill of spirituality? He has divided the age group according to the kids' age group. He had divided and how to uh, convey the message of love to kids. So, first, infant. If the infant, that is 0 to 1 years, what are the keywords we can use? Love, affection, and attention. These are the keywords for this age group. And how we are going to create that environment or the atmosphere of love and imbibe spirituality in that age, he's giving the information here. Fortunately, for our generation, the misconception that children need to be trained and disciplined from the cradle has been discarded. An infant is pure spiritual gold. Cherishing her innocence is the way to find the path back to our own. So, in a very important way, it is the parent who sits at the feet of the baby. Spiritual bonding with your infant comes through touching, holding, providing security from harm, playing, and giving attention. Without these primitive responses from the environment, the human organism cannot flourish. It will languish, wither as surely as a flower deprived of sunlight. So, here the author, how we are going to give spirituality for 0 to 1 years old kids, the babies, just like a flower needs the sunlight, give the touch, the sense of security, playing, the attention. That itself will create a spiritual bond with the infant. So, without this primitive responses, we can't create an environment. How lovingly we can touch our kids at that infant time. And now, moving on to the next age group, toddler, 1 to 2 years. The keywords here is freedom, encouragement, respect. This is the stage in which the child is first gaining ego. Here, I mean ego in the simplest sense of self, a conviction of I am. This is a precarious time. For the toddler is testing detachment from the parent for the first time. The lure of freedom and curiosity pulls in one direction, but there is a fear and insecurity pulling in the other. Not all experiences of being on one's own are pleasant. It is therefore to the parent to communicate a spiritual lesson without which no child can truly grow into independent selfhood, that the world is safe. Feeling safe as an adult means that sometime before the age of 2, you were not conditioned by fear. You were encouraged instead to expand without limit, to value freedom despite the occasional wound that can come when a child bumps into a thing of this world. Falling down is not the same as falling. Being hurt is not the same as being as deciding that the world is dangerous. Hurting is nothing more than nature's way of telling a child, excuse me, where the boundaries lie. Pain exists to show a toddler where me begins and ends. A help to help a child avoid potential dangers like burning oneself or falling downstairs. When parents distort this natural learning process, the result is a sense of psychological pain, which is not that nature intended. Psychological pain sets up boundaries that you cannot cross without feeling deep anxiety about your state of being. If a child connects being hurt with being bad, weak, unable to cope, and constantly surrounded by threat, there is no room left for inner spiritual growth. For without a sense of safety, spirit remains out of reach. One is forever trying simply to feel secure in this world. Yet, the security cannot be achieved without overcoming the imprints of early childhood. Here, the author is trying to say how freedom and encouragement and respect as key role for toddlers. That is the age where they try to walk, they hold on to things, they explore, they touch and feel everything, and they explore. When we restrict out of our security, in the name of security, in the name of taking care, if we restrict the exploration, which is the nature's way of teaching a kid, they may fall. That's what the author is saying. They may fall, but it is not seen as falling. They may get hurt, but it is not dangerous. It doesn't mean the world is dangerous. So when we restrict too much in that age without exploring, as they grow as an adult, they stop exploring and they see the world as a fearful and not a risky world. So they tend to be in the circle and not explore or take risk. And they'll be in that fear. So that freedom and exploration, that encouragement should be given. That is how we include spirituality, because they will touch plants, they'll touch. But here author is giving a caution to uh, see. No, it doesn't mean that we can leave a child to run down the stairs or to go near the fire. That caution we should have, but we should allow them to explore. Now, the age preschool, 2 to 5 years. Here, the keywords are deserving, exploring, approving. This stage is all about building a child's sense of self esteem. Self esteem provides readiness to go outside the family to encounter the big, wide world. It is identified with tasks and challenges. Until the age of 2 or 3, a toddler has no responsibility for tasks. Simply to play and be joyous is enough. There is no spiritual need for anything but to nurture the delight of the child's self as it unfolds to a fresh new world. With toilet training and learning to feed himself, a toddler begins to realize that I am can expand to I can. Once the ego realizes this, there is no stopping a 2-year-old. He thinks he has the whole world and certainly everyone in this family by the top, by the tail. I is like a power generator just plugged in. And what makes the two terrible two's terrible is that the newly born ego surges with power in an undisciplined way, shouting, screaming, running around, wielding the all powerful word no, and generally trying to rule a reality by sheer will. This is exactly what should be going on at this stage. Spiritually, the value of the preschool stage is that power is spiritual. Only the distortion of power leads to problems. So, rather than try to curb your child's rush to power, you need to channel it into tasks and challenges that teach balance. Without being put into balance, the power hunger of a preschooler will run into grief because her experience is largely the illusion of power. A ranting 2-year old is still a very teeny, vulnerable, unformed person. In our love for the child, we allow the illusion to exist because we want her to grow up a strong, capable person who feels up to the challenge that comes along. This sense of self-esteem won't develop if the feeling of being powerful is shut down or repressed at this stage. Yes, in this stage, the author is giving the keyword deserving, exploring, approving. So this is the stage where the toddlers, preschoolers scream, they they run around, they'll be shouting, and they will start using the powerful word no. They'll say to no, and they'll be trying to eat by themselves, feed on, and they would explore things. So from I am to I can, they would explore what all they can do. They will try to take water from the uh, from the closet. From they'll take fruits from the closet. They'll take water. They'll try to bring water. They'll try to check whatever is around. So they'll see what can. So here the author is saying to have caution. One is over. That is the illusion for them. The author is saying the kids have that illusion that they are powerful and they can do it because this is the first time they have the sense, right? I can do this, I can say no, and they want adults to understand them because they don't know the difference of illusion and what actually is. So at that time, over freedom is also not right, and they have to be challenged with small tasks so that to balance, to channelize that energy, to channelize the power. At the same time, if they ask something, if they are trying to explore, we shouldn't curb it out. We shouldn't put barriers to their exploration because when they grow up, they feel powerless. This is the time they feel they will explore their power. So, author is asking us to maintain the balance so that kid will feel that power at the same time explore. Now, moving on to the next category, kindergarten, early primary school, 5 to 6 years. Here, the keywords are giving, sharing, non judgment, acceptance, truth. The keywords that apply to the first years of school begin to sound more social. Of course, there are many other words. For once a child has been experiencing the world for 5 years, the brain is so complex and active that countless concepts are being absorbed and tested. I also don't mean to imply that sharing, giving, and telling the truth can be ignored before this stage. But the critical aspect of this stage is abstract concept can now begin to be assimilated. The concrete mind of the infant, which has not understood reasons for your behavior, only how only how it feels now blossoms into a capacity of accepting realities beyond I am, I want, and I come first. Giving is how, at any age, we show that we emphasize with needs outside ourselves. If giving is seen as loss. I have to give something up so that you can have it. The spiritual lesson of the stage has not been taught. Giving in spiritual terms means I give to you without loss because you are part of me. A young child cannot fully grasp this idea, but he can feel it. Children don't just want to share, they love to share. They feel the warmth that comes from reaching beyond ego boundaries to include another person in their world. No act is more intimate, and therefore, no act feels so blissful. The same holds for telling the truth. We lie in order to remain safe, to avoid danger of punishment. Fear of punishments implies inattention, and even if a lie actually does protect us from perceived danger, it rarely, if ever relieves this inattention. Only the truth can do that. When a young child is taught that telling the truth will result in a good feeling, she has taken the first step towards realizing that truth has a spiritual quality. It isn't necessary to use punishment. If you foster the attitude of tell the truth and you will be in trouble, or tell the truth or you will be in trouble, if you have thought something spiritually false. So whenever we say when we have the attitude, tell the truth or you will be in trouble, you have thought something spiritually false. A child who is tempted to lie is under the influence of fear. If truth gets associated with this fear, then the mind quite logically tries to get better as seeming to tell the truth. In either case, the child is forced to act better than he feels he actually is. Learning to act out of what other demands is a sheer recipe of spiritual destruction. Your child must feel that this is what myself want to do. Here the author is saying for the kindergarten kids 5 to 8 age, the keywords here are giving, sharing, judgment, acceptance, and truth. In this age, as parents, we should teach them to give, to share. It's not that it shouldn't start early, but at this stage, they should understand the concept of giving. If you see the spirituality, when you give to someone, actually we are sharing with the other part of us. But this vast concept can't enter into the kids. So we need to encourage kids to share and remove the boundary of I want, I, and what for me, and I come first. So if we remove that and we set the boundaries, extend the boundaries to others by sharing, and they should be able to willingly share. So here, the joy, they should be sharing with joyful and blissfully sharing. The other one concept we have to introduce to kids in this age is the truth. So when we reward a kid, when we punish, this is when they learn. They become imprints in children. Whenever we say you tell the truth or you will in trouble. So what you're going to do, we are spiritually giving a false imprint for kids. Anything which is treating them to be threatened from inside, giving them the inner tension, will not give a right perspective in life. So, telling the truth, what the author is saying is both the cases where you are forced to tell the truth, or like you are punished to tell the truth, or when you are lying, and when the kid get caught lying and saying that, oh, you are lying, tell the truth. So in any of these cases, we are troubling the kid with, or we are forcing the kid to know, to hold on to the truth. They should get the sense when we act normally, when we accept them, whatever they say, and we just look at them, They themselves will know that all I have to do is still, because naturally the kids will be telling truth. The way we behave will make them either to lie or change it, manipulate it. So when we accept our kids, kids will try to be say will they wantedly say the truth. So author is emphasizing them to understand, first us to understand and accept, so that kids will accept the truth and share the truth. The next is older children, 8 to 11 years old. The keywords here are independent judgment, discrimination, insight. So this is the older children, 8 to 12 years old. For many parents, this stage is the most enjoyable because this is when children develop personality and independence. They think on their own, come up with hobbies, likes and dislikes, enthusiasms. The rush of discovery is on its trajectory to things that may last for life, such as love of science or art. The key spiritual concept here are all in line with this exciting phase. Although it sounds dry, discrimination is a beautiful quality of the soul. It goes far beyond telling right from wrong. In these years, the nervous system itself is capable of sustaining the subtle impressions of great depth and importance to the future. A 10-year-old child is capable of wisdom, and for the first time, that most delicate of gifts, personal insights, comes about. The child can see and judge through her own eyes. She no longer has to receive the world second hand from adults. This is therefore the first stage in which anything like a spiritual law can be grasped conceptually. Before this, the idea of law just seemed like a rule you have to obey or at least pay attention to. Instead of using the word law, the parent might be conveying helpful insight into how things work, why things turn out the way they do, or how to do it so it feels good. These are more concrete experience centered ways of teaching. By age 10 or so, however, abstract reasoning takes on independent turn, and the true teacher is now experience, not an authority figure. Why this happens is a spiritual mastery, as for experience has been there since birth, but for some reason the world suddenly speaks to a child. She can grasp the upwelling within herself of why something is true or not, why truth and love matter. So this is the age where the older children, 8 to 12 years, now they get the sense of what is right, what is wrong. They will start observing people. They will know how the kids, other kids are treated. They sometimes we have seen kids supporting each other. They will know that it's a very subtle sense of discrimination, right from they learn. It's no longer rules. In the earlier age, we say share it, or we say you have to tell truth. They feel it is rule, but still they follow. Respect, give a turn, take turns. All this will be rules for them. But now they understand why they are doing, and they themselves will act accordingly. That discrimination and um, independent judgment will come. And here, the one more gift of life will enter, that is the insight. That is from their own experience, they will develop the insight. So at this stage, we have to be very careful when we talk near the kids, because they will develop a perception seeing the situation. At that time, if we put our judgment, they will see through our eyes, they will see through our words. So we are just transferring our muck, whatever we are having in your mind, to them. So at that time, we have to be very cautious, because they will be developing their own sense of insights, which is very much pure. We can give the wisdom of what is right and what or wrong as a discussion, but not as a rule. Allow them to explore. Moving on to the next category, early teens, 12 to 15 years. Here, the keywords are self-awareness, experimentation, responsibility. Childhood ends with early adolescence, traditionally a trying and difficult times for children. Innocence suddenly runs into puberty and the arrival of needs that parents can no longer fill. For parents, the realization dawns that they must let go of their children and trust that they are capable of dealing with a world of responsibility and pressure that the parents themselves may have barely learned to adjust to without insecurity. What is crucial is that by now the lessons of childhood have borne either sweet or bitter fruit. The child who can go forth imprinted with genuine spiritual knowledge will reflect her parents' pride and trust. The child who stumbles into confusion, reckless experimentation, and peer pressure is likewise reflecting the hidden confusion of his upbringing. Adolescence is notoriously a time of self consciousness, but it can also be a time of self awareness. Experimentation is a natural part of the transition from childhood, but it doesn't mean to have to be reckless and destructive. Now, the issue is whether the child has an inner self that can be used as a guide. This inner self is the silent voice that has the power to choose between right and wrong based upon deep knowingness about life. This knowingness is not confined to any age. A newborn baby has it as fully as mature adult. The difference is that the mature adult has cultivated behavior that follows the inner guide. If you have taught your child to heed her own silence, there is no peril in letting her go out into the world, no longer a child. In fact, it is a joyful experience, if awake is if occasionally a nerve-wracking one. To watch her grow in self awareness by experimenting with the vast array of choices life has to offer. Yeah, in fact, it is a joyful experience to watch her grow in self awareness by experimenting with the vast array of choices life has to offer. Here, the author, for the age 12 to 15, the keywords are self awareness, experimentation, and responsibility. By this age, the kids would have developed some imprints depending on their experiences, their insights gained. It could be because of the parents and what they say, especially when we are in the groups, we tend to say about our kids, and we that leaves a great imprints in our kids. Here, the world, they sometimes feel it is the world of responsibility and they feel the pressure from parents. They feel that we need to live up to their trust. They try to adjust without insecurity because they wanted to go as smooth as possible. They would be having a lot of confusion. At the same time, when we correctly give the spiritual aid at the right age, that transition will be eased and that experimentation can be encouraged. That knowingness should be there. Instead of the confusion, it could be self awareness. So that guidance should be there, could be given. But the difference is that the mature adults has cultivated the behavior that follows that inner guiding. So that by this time, they should be able to have that inner guidance of discrimination, of making choices that we can allow to grow when we give that freedom and love to them. At this age, teens especially, they want to keep up that trust with their parents. They want to project that everything is going well. So at the time when we show them, we trust them and we support them, the choices they make will be out of freedom or will be out of confidence than confusion. Many parameters will be reduced if we give the trust to them and love. So with this, masters, we'll end this part C.